Hello, and welcome to another heavenly episode of Heavenly Album Covers. And please remember that Mr. Bubble is the bubble bath of Heavenly Album Covers. It's a great bubble bath, and we highly endorse it. This is not a paid endorsement. Right now, we're going to go through many various assorted records and album covers, and here we go. This first one is on Columbia House Records, and it's called Taking It Easy. And as you can see, there's a couple here in a very easygoing boat here, and they're on some sort of lake or river. And this is a sealed copy, so it's probably worth a few cents more than it should be. Next up, we have Neil Diamond's album, Beautiful Noise, produced by Robbie Robertson. And this album cover is okay, but it's not as great as the inner sleeve, the gatefold, which probably was the original cover. This gatefold has an amazing scene of a dead-end street with pimps and whores and people lighting fires, sailors and cowboys, policemen. It's a wonderful scene here, and it carries on to the inner sleeve. And there's Neil Diamond there. He's in a alcove near some place called the Colonial Club. And I imagine this was the original cover, and then they wimped out and they put this one on the cover. Next up is a iconic cover by folk singer and jazz singer, actually, Tim Buckley. And this album is called Greetings from LA, and it features some sort of postcard of Los Angeles covered in smog. It's just amazing. It's an amazing image. And here's Tim Buckley up there. He's wearing a gas mask, and looks like this cover was designed by Cal Schenkel, who did Frank Zappa and Captain Beefheart and other album covers. And here's an album called Captain and Tennille's Greatest Hits, and this is some sort of airbrushed title or some sort of thing of Captain and Tennille here. It's very creative. And here we have the Captain and Tennille inside. Looks like they're on Hawaii or Maui, and they're enjoying the sunset, and they're enjoying each other's company. And this has all their hits. They had quite a few hits in the mid-'70s into the '90s, really. And here's the Captain and Tennille. They're sitting on a rock enjoying the ocean. And, of course, we have the captain. I think his name is Daryl Dragon. He's gone shirtless here, or he has a shirt, but it's revealing his hairy chest. And Toni Tennille is having fun over next to him. And this is just a great album cover. There they are, throwing the captain's hat in the ocean. Next up is an album by Dordt College, 1962 choir, and this is a neat cover because it's so simple and stark. You have looks like the Dordt College here. It probably still exists. We have a branch from a tree, some more foliage, and some grass. There's the album serial number, and there's pretty much nothing on the back. So the next album we're going to look at is by Pepe Guizar, or Weezar, and there's Pepe, I think, and his friend. They're out in the desert somewhere in the mountains, and there's a gigantic cactus, or maybe it's an aloe plant, and they're just dwarfed by that cactus plant there. This stereo lettering at the top is neat. And let's see if the record label's any good. No. But there's Pepe Huizar, and he does magical music here on his album. And once again, we have Captain and Tennille here. There's Daryl Dragon, Toni Tennille. This is their huge album, Love Will Keep Us Together. And they have their dogs there posing with them. It's a very playful album cover. They're all dressed very casually. Even the dogs look very casual. And there's the Captain and Tennille, huge artists in the 70s. They just sold gazillions of albums. And this album is on A&M Records. There's another album in here. I don't know what it is. Oh, it's Peaches and Herb, not related to Captain and Tennille. And here's an album by comedian and musician and painter Phyllis Diller. There she is. She's no longer with us, but she was very active from the early 60s to her death a few years ago. This album is called Born to Sing, and this is one of those classic Columbia Records crowded compositions here. Several other artists did albums like this where they were featured in the middle and then surrounded by all sorts of objects and things. In the background, there's a kid that's all tied up. I don't know what that's all about, but this album is actually signed by Phyllis Diller to Gene with Love, Phyllis Diller. There it is. That makes the record worth a little bit more. And it's a demonstration record. It's on the beautiful, well, we won't look at the label. And here's another Phyllis Diller record with a great title. The title is Wet Toe in a Hot Socket. And there's Phyllis Diller cutting up. She's looks like she's screaming right at the camera. And she does a lot of comedy on here. This is an early album of hers. She put out a lot of albums. This is on Miro Sonic Records. And Phyllis Diller was just great. She was amazing. That's her early look. She had kind of short hair, and she was a very funny woman and a great artist. She was a great visual artist. Next up is a album by the Lonesome Valley Singers. It's called God Bless the Working Man, and it's on Diplomat Records. And there's the nice Diplomat Records label. And there's a woman. She's a steel worker on the building. She's working on this building over here. She has a hard hat and American flag T-shirt. She's ready to go and take part in the building of a big building because she's a working person. And the backside is pretty dull, but that's okay. And it looks like Diplomat Records was out of New Jersey, something like that. So that's God Bless the Working Man. Next up are the Witter family. And this album is called I Found a Better Way. This cover is very strange. It's a stock record cover. I've seen this cover before with other artists. This person's hand over here looks kind of hairy and strange, but whoever it is reading the Sermon on the Mount, and this is on Rose Records. That label is really nice with the rose there. And here's the Witter family. They're hanging out by their traveling trailer. There's a couple of gentlemen, two girls, a mom, and a little baby. They're hanging out, and the liner notes are pretty efficient and comprehensive. And it looks like the Witter family is from Kentucky. or was from Kentucky. I don't know where they are today. And next up is a pretty psychedelic album cover by the Blackwood Brothers, On Stage. That's the name of the album. And this just has a miraculous cover with drawn images and patterns. And the Blackwood Brothers put out a lot of records, but I think this is their best cover. The record label is kind of waterlogged and crumpling, and those are the Blackwood Brothers. Next up, we have the Lowell Lundstrom Team. Looks like they're singers, and their album is called We're Happy Christians on Canaan Records. And there's the Lowell Lundstrom Team, and looks like a family group, and they've all got their instruments with them, and they're posing under a tree by a lake or a river. And the backside of the album is pretty plain, and those are the song titles there. And the Lowell Lundstrom Team is happy that they are Christians. There's a big crucifix cross motif there. And finally, we have an album called Do the Hustle. This is an instructive album on how to dance the disco dance, the hustle. And there are various photographs of at least one couple. I think it's one couple dancing all these dances, these dance routines. It might be two people or two sets of people, and they're just having fun. Right there, they're really having fun, and there they are, they're dancing. Everybody's dancing on this album cover. It's got to be one of the greatest hustle instructional albums ever made, and it's got two albums on Realm Records. It's got instrumental versions of all the disco hits of the era, plus some verbal instructions on how to do the hustle. You can do the American hustle, the Latin hustle, the hustle cha-cha, and the foxy trot. And this came out in 1976 on Vista Marketing Records. So I do believe that's the last record we'll look at today, but there will always be more record albums. Look at that lettering. It's almost looks like a neon light reproduction there. And please remember that Mr. Bubble is one of the finest bubble bath products of this time or any time. And you can get a Mr. Bubble t-shirt if you lived back in the late 90s.